This is the solutions to the third quarter test review, and I thought I'd take a look through these. So question number one asks you to find a pair of alternate exterior angles. Remember, those are alternating sides of the transversal, and they're on the exterior, so that might be something like angle 1 and angle 5. A pair of alternate interior angles, which they didn't ask about, would be something like 3 and 4, alternating sides of the transversal, but inside the two lines. A pair of corresponding angles, those are angles that are in the same position. So for example, angle 2 is on the top right, and angle 4 is on the top right on its line, same position. So angle 2 and angle 4. Notice, by the way, if the lines are not parallel, those corresponding angles are not necessarily congruent. A pair of vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are formed when you have two lines crossing. They're opposite each other like this. So that would be something like angle 2 and angle 3. And a pair of exterior angles on the same side of the transversal. Well, that would be same side of the transversal on the exterior. That would be angles like 2 and 5. All right. Second example here. So they give us some coordinates of some points. They want us to find the coordinates of point M, and then they want us to show that CM is not perpendicular to AB. So a couple things happening here. Remember that a median goes to the midpoint of a side. So you can find the midpoint of a segment by averaging the two x coordinates, so add them together, divide by 2, and averaging the two y coordinates, add them together and divide by 2, and that would give you the coordinates of the midpoint. So for example, in this case, we have the points, A is at negative 6, 2, and point B here is at the point 8, 4. And so if we average those numbers, negative 6 plus 8 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. And our other point there, we can take 2 plus 4 is 6, and divide by 2, and we get 3. So 1, 3 is our midpoint. And you can line it up. Hopefully you can see if you had the point 1, 3, if you have negative 6, 2, and you have 8, 4, you can check and see 1, 3 should be exactly between those two values. Negative 6, if you increase by 7, you get to 1. If you increase by 7 again, you get to 8. So you can see that the x is exactly halfway in between the midpoint is exactly halfway between the x values. 2, if you increase by 1, you get to 3. If you increase by 1, you get to 4. And you can see that the y coordinate is exactly in the middle as well. So the point 1, 3. All right. Now, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. In other words, the slopes are things like 2/3, and you could flip the fraction and change the sign, negative 3/2, for example. Okay, so I just need to find the two slopes. A slope, of course, is a change in y over a change in x, a y2 minus y1 over an x2 minus x1, something kind of like that. So let's take a look here. I'm going to find the slope of CM first. Y2 minus y1, that would be 9 minus 3. And then x2 minus x1, that'd be 2 minus 1. That's going to be a slope of 6 over 1, which is just 6. Actually, the fraction might be a little better to use for reciprocal purposes. And then to find the slope of AB is going to be y2 minus y1. That's going to be 4 minus 2. And then x2 minus x1, that's going to be 8. Be careful that it's minus negative 6, so you're going to get 2 over 14, which is 1/7. Okay, notice, if you flip 1/7 and change the sign, it is not opposite in sign of 6 over 1, and it's also not the reciprocal. So CM is not perpendicular to AB because we do not have opposite reciprocal slopes. All right. Let's see. All right. It tells us that these lines are perpendicular. OP has a slope of negative 13/17, and if these are going to be perpendicular, that means that MO has to have an opposite reciprocal slope. So that would be positive 17 over 13 would be our slope. So opposite reciprocal slopes is what we have going on there. All right. And then the last one here, they want us to find the slope of the medium from P to QR. So P is right here, QR is over here. The median's going to go right there. So we've got to find the coordinates of the median. And it looks like we're finding the midpoint between 8, 12, which is point P, or which is point Q, and 2, -6, which is going to be point R. So same thing, find the average of the x's. 8 plus 2 divided by 2 is 5, halfway between 8 and 2. And we can average the y's. 12 plus -6 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. I think you can see here 12 minus 9 is 3, 3 minus 3 is 3 minus 9 is -6. So 5, 3 is that. And we want to find the slope of the median. So we want to find the slope between P and basically this median point here. So our slope is going to be between the points from P at -5, 7 and over to that new midpoint at 5, 3. Slope is y2 minus y1. That'd be 3 minus 7. On the bottom, x2 minus x1, 5 minus -5. 3 minus 7 is -4. And 5 minus -5 is 5 plus 5, which is 10. Simplify your fraction, you end up with -2/5. And I think that seems reasonable based on the picture here. It looks like a downward slope, so it should be negative. And it should be a pretty shallow slope, and 2/5 is less than 1.